Welcome to the Arsenal show. We are live. I'm joined by Steve K. How you doing, Steve?
Good evening, Kieran. Good evening, everybody out there. Hope you're enjoying the transfer window. Hopefully we can put a bit of light on what's going on tonight.
I think you got confused by the show, Steve. I think you still think that you're on Monday's show, which is that could be any transfers in the world. This is the Arsenal show we're talking about.
Oh yeah.
We've only got 2 days left of the transfer window. Don't get their hopes up. Don't get that, because as we know with Arsenal fans, it's the hope that kills us.
You've got a bit longer than that, mate. Don't. You're panicking now. It's a bit longer than 2 days.
I'm all right. I've come to terms that Arsenal won't bring in the player in this
5 days. Monday, I think it is. Monday.
Well, I've come to terms that Arsenal won't be bringing in anyone during this transfer window. Maybe you can give Arsenal fans a little bit of hope before the window ends. And anyway, we're going to be discussing the summer targets as well, because I think the question needs to be asked: Do you forget about the summer targets and go for what you can get now? Or do you wait? And then again, people will say next year Arsenal, Netflix, FC, and all that. But it's about the good of the club. What's it? Is it long term or you're thinking short term? We're going to be discussing that. We're discussing. It seems like some sense has come to someone, because Miles Lewis-Skelly's appeal for this red card, possibly the most ludicrous red card on planet Earth, has been. It's been appealed, and Arsenal have got what they wanted. They got the result they wanted. The red card has been overturned, and it'd be interesting to see what the rival fans who said it's a clear as day red card have to say now that PGMOL have said it was never a red card in the first place and it was a mistake by the referee, which we know happened. So it'd be interesting to see what they have got to say about it as well. And of course, we've got the Champions League, the final round, the 18 games all at once.
But the big question, Kears, have you been swung over to this Champions League yet, or are you still on it?
No,
come on, it's got to be exciting there. Last day, Jeopardy. Everybody playing the same time.
Do you know what it is, Steve? Do you know what it is? Yeah, when you win the Champions League groups, there's a chance that you can get like some of the smaller teams. I know it's the Champions League.
Yeah, I've been thinking
about smaller teams, and that's usually where you get kind of stuck. However, if you look at them standings, you've got like Barcelona down there. I know. Down there. Like, Liverpool could get Barcelona because they're sitting top. Like whoever's second, get it's ridiculous. It's this is not
1 minute. 1 minute you're getting excited, and we've done well. Look at the league there. We're first Liverpool, second Barcelona, Arsenal. What better Champions League could you have? But then you look down the bottom there, didn't you? You're trying to work out who you might come up against. You're seeing Man City down there, seeing PSG down there, you're seeing Real Madrid down there, and you're like, you just know what's going to happen, don't you? You know what's going to happen.
At the moment, Arsenal is it first play last, so it would be Liverpool playing Stuttgart if that finishes how it finishes.
Where is it now?
Barcelona versus Sporting Lisbon, and Arsenal versus PSG. I know we beat PSG.
Yeah, I know, but
it don't work like that. It don't work like that. So
two legs, wasn't it? Then
it's 2 legs as well, and it's going to be a tough. It'll be a tough game in Paris. So look, I'm not a fan. I'm not going to change my mind on it, because we're going to look at the standings before we discuss as well, and we'll be able to discuss that as well. First and foremost, before we get onto the bit where everyone's getting everyone's waiting for, because everyone's waiting for the transfers. Everyone wants to listen to what they got to say, but the transfers that everyone's waiting for. Yeah. Press that like, people. Press that retweet. If you're watching on Twitter, do us a favor and press
come
that
over.
Like. Move on.
Come over. Come over. Come over.
Come over. Get in the comment section. I think the comment section should be working on Twitter. If they're not, and you don't read them out, come over to YouTube and get in the comment section there. But before you do,
put them up on the screen. We'll have a conversation with you. Come on.
Yeah, press that retweet, press that like, so we can get more people involved as well. Steve, you've seen the news, Lewis-Skelly's appeal, which means the red card has been overturned, which means we'll be able to play it against Manchester City. I think a lot of Arsenal fans were worried about this. If anyone watched Monday Night Football, they saw that Caicedo's yellow card and Howard Webb explained why it was a yellow card. So going on that, you would have thought, oh, well, maybe thinking along the same tracks. There's no pressure on it. There's no real danger. But I don't know. I never feel confident about these sorts of things.
No.
So I did think that it was gonna fall on deaf ears, especially when you see, the reaction. There's the trolls out there, but like I said yesterday, there's a lot of people out there that are genuinely saying, no, look at it properly. Studs go down the Achilles, studs go down the shin. That's a red card. And that's the fact they didn't even attempt to get the ball. It's definitely a red card.
Yeah, you're always going to get those fans that are going to be doing, the ones that do the steals, aren't they? The one that's got the steal, they look for the worst steal and then they put it up and go, he's scraped it down. But look, everything's fine now. They come to the right decision, and rightly so. They come to agreement there was a red card, and now Miles can play in the next 3 games, which are really important to Arsenal. So, it was just. It was an independent body, wasn't it? It was like an independent body that looks at the card, so which I like the idea of that. We spoke about independent people last night. It's a good debate that we had. Disagreed. There was good fors and against for it. I was all up for that. So I was a little bit confident when I heard that, and they come to the conclusion, mate. And what more is there to say, really? It was the right conclusion. Now it's just going to be interesting, mate, to see what happens. Would the PGMO come out and give an apology? What will Michael Oliver come out and say anything? Will Darren England come out and say anything? Probably not. And I couldn't believe it today that Michael Oliver's been given the Liverpool Everton game. As the game in hand. That they've got.
Yeah, well, he's not been given the Arsenal Man City game though, has he? That would have been a bloody disaster.
No, but it's going to be interesting to see how he referees that one, isn't it? Considering that's what one's in midweek. Do you know what I mean? For their game in hand against Everton.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was just a mistake. But it's good that it's over with, mate. We can get on to other things, to be honest with you, because we've probably sort of bled it dry, haven't we?
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about the team spirit that Arsenal had on the weekend, because a lot of people would have given up on the league beforehand. Many people along the way. I think you said, I don't think you gave up on it. It's just more of you weren't seeing that Arsenal were playing like they were involved in it. So I completely get that. But there was something about the other day which I think said a lot about the mentality. It could have been easy to necessarily feel sorry for yourself and down tools there, but Arsenal came out in that second half like they wanted the win. They needed the win. They didn't wait around. It wasn't like the red card for the other team. It helped, but it wasn't like Arsenal started playing then. It's before that card came because Arsenal were playing like they were. And it just feels like this team that it galvanised on the weekend, and it feels like they're sending the message to everyone to say we're not giving up. This ain't over.
Oh well, no, definitely not, mate. But you're 100% right. I'm still not there yet where I can say we're off, we're on a race. But that was something that I haven't seen, for a couple of months now in an Arsenal side. I was quite pleased with the way that we started the game as well. Look, it was Wolves. But look, we're seeing what these teams, these Ipswiches and these Leicesters, and we've seen what these type of teams, they have got quality sides, and they can hurt you if you're not on it. Mm-hmm. And, Wolves is a difficult place to go sometimes. And we started the game well. We come out and we made chances. Havertz had some chances. A couple of chances. Probably should have scored, but he kept. One thing about Havertz that I like, he's one of these players that his head don't drop when he misses a goal. He'll keep going, and he may miss another one and another one, but he does keep going. I like that, and I thought he had an excellent game. But the whole team, mate, looked different. They looked like they wanted it, and like you said, you're absolutely right. When the sending went off happened, then we seemed to go up another level in the second half, and it was like having the old Arsenal back. It just looked like we still had like 11 men on the pitch, and they had 10. Do you know what I mean? That's how it looked through the whole of that second half. And I never felt for 1 minute that they would score. But look, the old sort of saying the boys done good, and they did. And I mean, as I say, I'm not there yet. I'm still not there. I still don't really feel I'm in a race, although that's buoyed my confidence that against Wolves. Now I'm looking for City. I'm looking for the City game on the weekend. Now I'm looking at what I want now is another performance like that. Showing the grit of what we showed against Wolves. Take that into the City game. Come away with 3 points, and then look. Who knows? Look, Liverpool got Bournemouth away the weekend. If we can come through this weekend with, I don't know, maybe getting a couple of points back, playing like the way we did in the Wolves game. Look, who knows, mate? Who knows? But the important thing is to start seeing the Arsenal we know. Because if we keep scraping through, it probably ain't going to give me the confidence that we are going to go on. But this Wolves game has given me that little bit of confidence. And I just now need to see it in the Man City one now.
Yeah, we've got some big games coming up in the Premier League. Obviously, Manchester City on Sunday, followed by Leicester, West Ham at home, Nottingham Forest away from home, Manchester United and Chelsea. So it's a run of games where, yes, Man City's going to be tough, but we've got this is where we need to start thinking win, win. We'll start chewing through the games and just getting the results that we need. Keeping that pressure on Liverpool.
Oh, definitely, mate. Definitely. I think one thing, look, we've been critical of Arsenal this season, haven't we? To be fair, do you know what I mean? Because we haven't seen really the Arsenal that we had last season, where we looked like we was unstoppable at times. But I think we've got to give them a lot of credit, because we've had a lot of things go against us, a lot of circumstances go the wrong way, sending offs, that have been a bit unusual, if you like. Do you know what I mean? That's gone against us, injury after injury after injury. And look, we haven't been playing well in that time. But when you calculate that all together, push that all together, and you still see where we are in the league, we've got, you know what I mean? I think maybe the criticism's a bit too much. Maybe we should be saying, look, considering what we've been through, considering what we've been up against, considering the circumstances that's happened to us, to still be second and 6 points behind, that's some going. I mean, Kai Havertz, he's getting so much stick, right? He's getting so much stick, right? He's on the same amount of goals and goal assists as he was halfway through the season last year. And last year, all everybody was doing was praising Kai Havertz.
Yeah.
So why aren't they praising him this year when he's gone halfway, equaled what he did last year?
because they need a scapegoat. That's all it boils down to, is they need a scapegoat, and every game they're using Kai Havertz as a scapegoat. If he doesn't score, I even see people will say things like I just want more. And you're thinking, what do you want more? Because what I'm seeing now is I see him get an assist, and his general gameplay around the pitch has been excellent. I said it yesterday about people poo-pooing the fact that he was ill. He was ill for 2 weeks. That's actually a proper illness. That is, like, whether it's flu or whatever it is, could be COVID, whatever. That's a proper illness. Like, when your eyes are hurting, when your bones are hurting, you're ill. That's what Kai Havertz was. He tried to play. Mikel Arteta said, send him home. Yeah, so he was out for 2 weeks. He came back and had to go straight back in the team. And then when people say, mate, you can see he's tired, people go, 350 grand a week. Why is he tired? Why is he tired? Because he's human. And that's what humans are. Do you know what I mean? No different to me and you. Yes, he has a better fitness, health regime, food and diet, so he will get better quicker. But still, he still gets ill the same way as me and you feel ill. And how long does it take you to come back after you felt ill? You might feel right as rain that first day when you're feeling better, but come 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, your body's drained, you're knackered again. And that is what you're seeing Kai Havertz. He's now starting to get through 70, 80 minutes time. He comes with the pitch and he looks shattered.
He's knackered, isn't he?
He looks shattered. And there's no let off because no Jesus. There's no let off. There's no other options. Whose fault is that? That's probably our fault. But we can't be scapegoat using Kai Havertz as a scapegoat. It's just not fair.
Arsenal fans, love a scapegoat. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying people watching the show do, but people that are watching the show, you'll know where I'm coming from. Arsenal fans love a scapegoat. They have to have someone, no matter how good you're doing, no matter where we are in the league, whether we win the league, whether we're 2 points, we lose it by 2 points. Arsenal fans have to find a scapegoat with somebody, and as soon as they do, they're on it. And Kai Havertz seems to be that guy. And if anybody doesn't deserve to be the scapegoat, it's Kai Havertz. The guy scores goals. The guy makes goals. He runs himself into the ground. He holds the ball up when we need to defend. When we're under pressure. The guy is like, but there's fans out there will just say, well, we'll just look at him if he hasn't scored a goal or he misses a goal, and straight away they're bang, and then they're on him, and it's not fair. And okay, he earns a lot of money. But is that his fault? Is that his fault? He's a lot of money, right? What's he going to say? No, he's got an agent to go out there and say, go and get me whatever you can. Possible. Then he'll come back and say, yeah, Kai, right result. You've got 275 a week. I've got what I've get out of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Right result, pal. Kai's like, fair enough, mate. Well done. Would he have ended up going to Arsenal for 50 grand a week less? Probably. 70 grand a week less? Probably. But wouldn't we all do it? Do you know what I mean? Probably would have come anyway. So all that, he's on 70. He's a striker. He's on 275 grand a week. Absolute nonsense. What would you do? And he's not a striker. He's not a striker. Let's get that. Is someone who's being used as a striker because, in my mind, people like Martinelli, Odegaard, Trossard, and others, Jesus, are not doing what they have done other seasons. So everybody's looking at Kai Havertz to say, you've got to score the goals. You've got to score the goals. Saka's special. We know that. He just does it every season. Bosh. World class. Just improves every year. But you're asking the guy to do something that he's not what he is. And he's still doing it bloody well. He's still Arsenal's top goal scorer.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see long term how Kai Havertz plays in that 10.
Yeah,
if he does play in that 10, just off off of a striker. Like if we get Sesko, how he would play if he was rotating with an Odegaard and you had two more defensive players behind. How he would play in that 10 playing off of the striker. Because his link-up play and his actual gameplay it goes unnoticed.
It's hard to think. It's hard to think where he'd fit in. I mean, I'd love to have 12 players and put him somewhere, but I just don't know. Do you know what I mean? We'll talk later about players coming in the summer. And you add those into the equation, and then you've got Rice and Odegaard, and then if you say he obviously won't start out on the wings. Mm-hmm. It's hard to find a place for him in the side.
But as you see now. We need a squad, don't we? If we're going to be competing on 4 fronts or even 2 fronts, you need that squad. You need that depth and quality in that depth so that when so-and-so is out, we've not got a drop-off. Like we've had to deal with this season. Like look at the drop-off that we've had in having to play Sterling on that wing in comparison to Saka.
Yeah, that ain't worked, is it?
Night and day. That's a different universe.
But City were like that, wasn't they, Keir? City were like that. You never got You never got Gundogan, you never got Foden, you never got Silva, you never got De Bruyne, you never got Grealish, you never got them all playing at the same time.
No,
You never.
And they all got a fair amount of games as well. And then I think Pep got it on point, especially with players like Gundogan and Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, the Guerrero at the time. Guerrero and Jesus you fry into that, didn't you? Guerrero and Jesus, you had to fry into that equation at one time.
Yeah. So what I think Pep got it on point over the last few seasons, before De Bruyne was out long term, was where it was like he was playing him around the start of the season. In and around the middle, he was giving him a bit more of a rest. And then at the end, he knew he needed them in the end. And he would play that run of the games at the end. And it was big games. He was playing in Champions League, get him in. Big games in the Premier League, get him in. As soon as he thought he might be able to rest him, Foden, you're in.
Yeah.
So it's being able to do that and being able to rotate your squad and squad management. That's what Mikel Arteta is going to have to work on going forward. Because if we are going to bring in any players and we want to keep the players that we have got to rotate. He's got to find that balance between giving people game time, knowing your first team is, knowing what your main squad is, but still making them other players feel like they are part of it. And then when they do come in and they've got to have them runs, that they are playing at a high level as well.
Yeah, and that's an important thing. Like when you're buying a striker, when you're look, we'll talk about later. Probably we'll talk about Isaac Goroukis. We'll talk about Sesko. All these players that Arsenal have been linked with. To come into the club. When they come, these guys have got they've got to understand that they're fighting for their place every week. And this is squad. This is Arsenal you're coming to. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, Goroukis, for instance. He's come out and blatantly said, "I want to start wherever I go to."
Yeah.
Well, you're not. That's not going to work at Arsenal, I'm afraid. That type of attitude is not going to work, I don't think. Do you know what I mean? It's
you got to keep your place and hold it down.
Unless you're special, someone like Saka, for instance, or Salah, or someone like that, then you haven't got no right to come in and say I'm playing every week.
Yeah, I think with Goroukis, like I think his issue is. He's been to England. He was at Brighton, sat on the bench.
I get it.
Coventry, and then he's gone back to Brighton and then he's gone to Germany, and now he's ended up in Lisbon. He don't want to do that again. He don't want to sit on the bench.
No, 100%.
He wants to be the main man. So
that's fair, and that's fair. That's fair.
And then he's not the right person for us, and is he? I think that's what.
Well, this is it. But when you're a team that are every season you're going to be in the conversation to win the title, or every season you're going to be in the conversation to go as far as you can, and you want to win a Champions League, sooner rather than later. The attitude when you come to Arsenal is that you every week you have to be bang on it to keep your people.
Yeah.
Nice, and that goes player, not just like a centre forward. Every player in the pit that goes to Saka. If he dropped form all of a sudden, 4, 5, 6 games, there might be someone
you'd be expecting. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah,
you'd be a bit annoyed that he wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? Because you're thinking, you're at least thinking, take him out of it a little bit, like put someone else in, take the pressure off him, put Nwaneri in, or if we brought in another right winger, put him in. Or I 100% agree. Like you need to keep people fresh. You need to keep people on their toes. Sometimes complacency sets in, because if people think I'm on that team sheet, I'm going to be playing this week, I'm going to be playing every week, complacency sets in. So it's all about the right mentality of that player. People like Saka don't take it for granted that he feels like he's going to be.
No, you know that, don't you?
Yeah. But there are players that play for teams that they feel like, I've got my spot down. I'm in next week's trade. It might be getting dropped or being rotated that is the reason why it might give you a kick up the backside. So I think that's needed. I think that's definitely needed. Yeah,
that's why it's important to do your due diligence when you're looking for a striker. Yeah. You have to find out, like, when people say, like, that's another sort of aspect. Like when people say, "Oh, go and get that player, sign him. He does this, he does that." If he's a wrong and got a bit of a dodgy attitude or something, and he thinks he's the main man and wants to start, and he don't feel that he should fight for his play, then that's a you're not coming.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Look, it's great. We all want Arsenal. We had this thing before. I mean, ideally, you want 2 players in every, but probably not a goalkeeper, because that's probably a different position. But you want 2 players in every position. You want Timber and White. You want them fighting for that place and possibly time. On the other side, you want Lewis-Skelly and Calafiori, battling it out for that left back position. When you want in the midfield, you want Havertz, Rice. You want Partey, you want Mourinho, you want possibly Zubimendi. These all can't play at one time. Do you know what I mean? They're all going to be fighting each other. You want these players to be, because the more you get, the better competition you get. The idea is you get better. And same with Trossard, Martinelli. There's a couple of the positions where we haven't got 2 players in every position, and hopefully we'll fix that in January and the summer. But yeah, it's what's needed.
It is. On to the summer. There's obviously, in the January transfer window, there's a fans calling for Arsenal to bring in a player. One I heard the other day was, just crazy.
You're going to come out with one now. Is this?
They turned around and was like, sometimes Mikel Arteta's just got to take the risk and not worry about what happens next. Is it? Like what? Like, because I feel like you'll be the first one to complain.
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
Just didn't matter what happened, and you didn't. And then later on down the line, we couldn't get rid of the player, and you couldn't bring the player because of what you brought in January.
I think this is a good time to just say, just go and follow Kieran on TikTok, right? This bloke's wasted. He should be on telly or something, mate.
I'm quite blunt, so if you're
just whoever's watching, just go over to TikTok, follow Kieran, and quality.
If you're a bit soft, if you can't handle being told about yourself, then I'd like, yeah.
Anyway, go on, mate. I need to know who this player is.
Yeah, so basically, it was John Duran, and they were like, you just got to pay it. 80 million. Could you imagine getting stuck with John Duran for 80? Like, he's not even a starter for Aston Villa.
Do you know what? I see that. I did see that, and I had exactly the same thought. First thing I thought was 80 million. Right, so I was on it at the time. I was checking up on a few things. Yeah. If we give them 50, sell Zinchenko and Keogh, I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? What are you saying? Anyway, but then like people are backing him up. Yeah. Maybe Partey and all, we can sell it. Please.
He thinks he's Eden Gaspar, does he? All of a sudden, he thinks he's Eden Gaspar all of a sudden.
Not just one, mate. It was like an old army of them. Like, they was all agreeing with each other. I think they all like congregating and was all like really pleased with themselves. Like, they was like, yeah, and we can sell that and give him 35 and add that, get Duran in, stick him up front. What's Duran gonna do? He can't even get in Villa's team.
Exactly.
And you're asking the guy 80 million.
He's not starting over Ollie Watkins, and when he does, it's cameo appearances, it's substitute appearances.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, wake up, people. We've been here. We've been here before, where we went, do you know what? Just get anyone in. Just get someone in. And do you know what Arsenal do? They get someone in. And do you know what we do? Who's this? Man. Oh, this is who we brought in. Oh, this cost us 3 million to loan him in. And now we're having trouble with having to do this and do that. And we're having to balance the books here. And we're having to sell this player. Like, what? Like, don't do it to yourselves.
I like Evan Ferguson, but I see one today. It was saying West Ham, I don't even know if West Ham have bid him, but everybody on X had decided that they had.
Yeah. Loans.
Oh, look, they got more ambition. They got more ambition. They got for Ferguson. I'm like, look, I like Ferguson. Well, I quite like it. I must be fair. I'm interested to see how his career pans out.
On a loan?
Yeah, but even on a loan, kids, it's like, if we've got ambitions of like going as far as we can in the Champions League and pushing Liverpool all the way to the title, Ferguson's not the guy.
Ain't gonna be that guy.
No. He ain't that guy.
No, he's not.
And I think Arteta knows that, and that's why I just cannot see. I'll be absolutely shocked if we bought him, unless in the end it's impossible to get anybody, and he's just hanging around. But in the end, you just think, oh, we'll just get him on loan, pay 30 grand a week or something for the rest of the season, see what happens, take pot luck. Yeah, but that would be the only reason why I'd say take him. Do you know what I mean?
I'd only take these players now on a loan, no obligation, no option, not interested. I don't want Arsenal to bring in players just because we need a body. I really don't. Like, Evan Ferguson's a good player, and the deal would suit us. However, we couldn't do that deal because we've got Neto and
exactly,
and Sterling. So buy him, it's not an option. I don't want to buy him. I don't want to buy him because it means we ain't going to get someone in the summer, someone we actually want. And then we've got Evan Ferguson leading the line. Then we realise, there's a reason why he doesn't start week in, week out for Brighton. and Danny Welbeck does over Evan Ferguson. Like,
and that's why it's, if you can't get your main target, it's better to wait. It's better just to like, look, we're struggling with injuries. Where we've had a lot of things go against us this season, top players, key players out. But sometimes you think like, okay, look, we all was hoping that this would be the season that we'd go on and win the league. But sometimes circumstances through the year just go against you and you can't do nothing about it. And we'll just have to shrug our shoulders. It's much better to wait than to get someone, some panic by somebody. Like a John Duran or someone like that, or a Jonathan David or someone like that. But it's still going to be very interesting. We've got like until Monday, and I still wouldn't be surprised. I'm quite excited because I still feel like, from my understanding, that they're doing something. Something's going on, but I can't. Asking me who, I'm baffled, mate, at the moment. Who it could be.
All right. Well, Arsenal fans would like to hear some updates on some of the players that they've been linked with. One of the main strikers that Arsenal have been linked with is Benjamin Sesko. Has been talk that Arsenal will approached Leipzig to see if they can get anything done early. That was written off, and essentially his agent has shut down any move in the January window, along with the sporting director. So it seems like a summer move is definitely on the cards for Benjamin Sesko. But is his destination likely to be Arsenal, or Arsenal still working in the background to make that deal done? I know when Mikel Arteta speaks, it's a different speak. So as Arteta works his magic.
Yeah, well, they've done a lot of the groundwork in the summer, for Benjamin Sesko, and before then. Do you know what I mean? Talking to his agent, talking to Sesko. They made him, they targeted him as the number one guy that they wanted. Obviously they had other targets. There's a lot of good strikers out there, which we'll get to. But look, Benjamin Sesko, he'll cost around about 68, something like that. Because the release clause is a no more. That's gone. It'll be just like a fee. But
it's a gentleman's agreement fee, something that they're not going to really stand in the way, sort of make it fair.
Well, but at the same time, when I say an agreement's been made for Sesko and Sesko wants to come to Arsenal, and Arsenal have done all the groundwork and agreed terms and all that. Do you know what I mean? There's never like a sort of a set in stone where Arteta would say, I'm buying you in the summer, or Sesko, because things happen. Do you know what I mean? Things change. He might fall off a cliff and all of a sudden be rubbish, overnight. He might get an injury. So you can't guarantee players. And then you have to have your backups. Do you know what I mean? You have to be talking to other strikers just as good as Sesko in case things go wrong. And that's why you hear about, Arsenal being linked with a number of strikers, because you have to have options. You know, if your main one for something goes wrong or something happens with it. But it's interesting. It's very interesting because Benjamin Sesko, from what I'm hearing, was more of an Edu thing. He done a lot of work on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if the money was available, he would go for Isaac.
Oh, okay.
You know, if it was, this is something I've learned over the last few days. The money was there, Arteta would take Isaac. But look, the thing is, the reason why Sesko is put at the top of anybody else is because of the money. Because if Newcastle are signing him up on a new contract, if Newcastle are asking for over 100 million for him, Arsenal are not getting him.
Yeah,
it's not.
They are asking for 100 mil. So this is what I mean. A lot of fans will be out there and say, just get the deal done, just pay the money. But then again, with those same fans would moan about Arsenal not being able to bring in the likes of players we're going to be talking about soon.
Yeah, but
Zubimendi and Nico Williams.
Yeah, but in like a dream world, you know, if the money was there, you know, a bottomless pit of money, you would go and give Newcastle the money for Isaac and just bring him in. But because that's very, very, very unlikely, because of what other business and other players Arsenal are looking to bring in. Arsenal looking at bringing in a midfielder. Arsenal are also looking at bringing in a winger and also a striker. You know, you can't have one of those players costing over 100 million.
Yeah.
So hence what happens is Mikel Arteta makes Benjamin Sesko the number one target. And that's why you hear all the time about Sesko. And that's why you've heard me come on here all the time and sort of play down Isaac a lot. And that's why, like, you hear Arsenal going on and, you know, talking about Sesko. You very rarely hear Arsenal, you know, sort of journalists coming out, other journalists coming out, saying that there's been conversation with Isaac. You don't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear it because they're not happening. We know what he costs. We know Newcastle's situation, and he costs a fortune. So when you want to bring in other players, you can't. You know, you're talking like 250 million. You know, worth of players in the summer, and that's just not. You know, we'll end up going into the following year not being able to spend again, and people will be asking why.
Yeah. It's all very short term with a lot of fans. They don't really want to. They don't really want to discuss the implications of bringing in these players. They talk about short term. But they also are the same ones that will try and manage a team and say, like you said earlier, sell off players here and there. Oh, you can sell him. You can give him Zinchenko, and do they want to? Like, you can't do that.
Mean, look, it's not difficult to work out. I mean, we want a midfield player who's going to cost around 50-ish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we want to bring in a winger who's going to probably cost around about 50-ish. If you know, we all know who we're looking at, who Arteta wants, and also we know we need a striker who we were prepared to play around 50-ish again. You know, but you go into 120s. You know, even if the Cronkies have got that sitting up there in their bank and they've got, oh yeah, look, I've got a spare here, they can't give it to Arteta and Arsenal to go and spend because there's regulations that's stopping them. You know, Newcastle. I explained Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle have got a bottomless pit of money. They've got money sitting there in St James's Park, which is just sitting there, and the owners are just saying, "I'm dying to spend this money," but they're not allowed to yet. They're not allowed to because they're new owners and they've got to build up their own. They've got to build up their own money. Do you know what I mean? Make their own profit.
Commercial investments, everything like that. They've got to prove that the money that they're spending, they're making back, and not
because that
will end as part of money.
Because their money, that money, is new money. It's not old money from Mike Ashley days.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This is new money from this new people, and they've got to build. And that's why in the summer it was like they had to. it was like, oh, we might have to sell Isak, we might have to sell Ramirez to bring someone in.
But they look to sell other people. If you look to see what they sold last season, was it Elliot Anderson? There's other players that they can sell that they've got on the books. I know that there was talk that they're looking to get players like, I think Matt Ritchie's still there, and other players like that.
Well, Gordon nearly left, didn't he? Gordon nearly left for Liverpool.
Oh, really? How close was that?
That was close, mate. That was close.
Oh, really?
Really close, yeah. Because Diaz was a bit up in the air, wasn't it? He actually, that he was on the verge of leaving last year as well. He was up for going somewhere. I can't remember where it was, and there was a lot of talk about Ashley Gordon going to Liverpool, but they're other teams, but it's difficult, and that's why Sesko's been that number one, because he's priced for a striker. I tell you what, I don't know how much you've watched Sesko, mate, but he's a prospect.
Yeah, I've not watched too much of Sesko. Not watched too much of him. I'm just looking at the players that Newcastle could sell. They've got players on their books they can get rid of. They're Matt Target, not Matt Ritchie. It was Matt Target. Matt Target.
There's a tenner.
There's players that Callum Wilson's not getting any game any younger, and he doesn't really play. He's always injured. Kieran Trippier, Almiron. These are players that you can get off the books and get a little bit of change.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely, mate. Yeah,
at least they're not selling off hotels and selling players to their mates. Their mates being Aston Villa.
They're lords of themselves.
Have you seen that? Obviously, Axel Disasi is going Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Chelsea are looking at John Duran. It's all dodgy. It's all that's how the Premier League are allowing it. It's all dodgy.
And they want Garnacho as well. Do you know what I mean? And why do they want Garnacho? What do they want Garnacho for?
Because Chelsea like the names, don't they? They like the names. Like getting in a player who could be equally as good as Garnacho, probably cost 10, 15 mil less, but no one knows of them, is not going to excite the Chelsea fans. They like a name. They feel like they are the English version of the Galacticos. That's what it is. And they like that big name. So let them have them, because Garnacho's okay.
But they're not that big names though, are they? They're not that big names. I mean, Neto, he ain't big, is he? Madrid.
João Felix. João Felix. One of the players that everyone was like swooning over.
You'd avoid him like the plague.
He's always injured, but yeah, that's Chelsea. Next up, another player that Arsenal have been linked with that has a minimum release clause is Nico Williams, the left winger, forward player. Excited many people during the summer in the Euros. Was one of the players of the tournament. Absolutely outstanding pace, power, skill, clinical in front of goal. He was not had the best of seasons this season, but it does seem like he's another player who's attracting interest from the likes of Barcelona, Arsenal, and what I saw was actually laughable today was Tottenham are apparently willing to pay. Okay, let's be nice. Tottenham are willing to pay the £48 million.
Are you sure it wasn't the Nottingham Forest Nico Williams? It
could have been. It could have been a typo, but it did say £48 million. So Nico Williams, another player that Arsenal have been looking at. The alternative, it seemed like Arsenal were also looking at, was Mateus Cunha, but that one's died down, especially since Nottingham Forest have asked for a staggering £80 million for the Brazilian. So it does seem like for half of that price, you could be getting Nico Williams, a player that Arsenal have been very, very interested in for a long while now.
Yeah. I mean, we was after him in the summer. We wanted him in the summer, but again, similar to Sesko.
Oh, it's that time. It's earlier. What's going on? Similar to Sesko, he's back. He's back. Similar to Sesko. We got similar to Sesko. They didn't want to do it in January transfer window.
Yeah, similar to the summer thing, wasn't it? Really, it was similar to Sesko. He didn't want to leave Bilbao. I think he wanted to spend another season there,
which is understandable. After his team won a big tournament, all your mates are in Spain. You want to feel that buzz still. You want the summer there. No, as I said before, no one. It's very rare that you see the teams from the Spanish teams or a winning World Cup team move from the clubs that they're at, especially when they're in Spain. Sometimes they go back to Spain. Like even Moreno was a bit of a surprise to come to Arsenal in the summer. But it was just to a bigger and better club. But it's very hard to prize away top talents from Spain once they've won a big tournament.
Yeah. But there's been more contact with him, like before Christmas. We wanted to bring him in January. We tried. From my understanding of the situation now, he's beginning to sort of like waver a little bit, and I think we're going to get Nico Williams. The noise is loud, from people I talk to day about Nico Williams. He's heavily wanted by Mikel Arteta, and it's he's someone that I think will, he's someone who fits. What we need at that moment. He's powerful, he's quick, fast, pacey, scores goals. I mean, do you know what I mean? We've still got Martinelli, so I'm interested to see what happens there. Mm-hmm. But we don't know what's in, Martinelli. Williams is someone that can play out on the right as well. You've already said there, we need players who can, we're going to have a lot of games. We need players to rest players. We're going to get injuries and all that. So, there seems to be a little Spanish connection going on, for Mikel Arteta over the last few windows. Players we've been linked with, players that we've bought, which is always good for other players that he wants to know, to help when they come to settle in. Mm-hmm. So he's a good player, mate. He's a good player, and it's a release clause. And there's still a possibility he could come this month. I wouldn't put it totally out of the question, because just because I know there's something that's going on, I feel the same big's going to happen. But we'll see. As I say, it'd be interesting to see what happens with Martinelli, but. Mourinho plays for the Spanish side. They play on that left-hand sort of side when Mourinho plays, so they'd fit together. They'd work. They'd work well together on the pitch. Someone to talk to along with Raya off the pitch. So all these little connections are something to think about when you're buying a player. And as I say, and it's not that difficult of a release clause. It's just a matter of whether he wants to come to Arsenal or not. So. And all the indications are that he would come, that's Nico Williams, top player.
Oh, could you imagine Nico Williams on the left and then Sesko on the right?
Oh, mate, Sesko down the middle,
and Zubimendi, who we're just about to get on now, just sitting deep
with Odegaard in front, with Rice sort of plodding in the middle.
Oh,
Deck. Remember Deck? Don't forget Declan, the other William player.
Right. Oh, absolutely outstanding.
I've got to talk to Arsenal fans. You just talk like this, but there's a lot of you out there do like a moan. I know you do. Why are you moaning? Why are you moaning when you just hear what we've just gone through? Just that.
Yeah, especially the ones that are like, I've been waiting 20 years. So what? You can't wait another 6 months. Like, you can't wait. So you'd rather rush it now and just get in some bodies rather than wait until the summer to get in potentially 3 of these players.
I mean, some of you probably I don't know the ages of some of you watching, but, me and Kieran was after, we had to see players like Denis Suarez come in and Shamak and Richard Wright and Oleg Luzhny and...
Yaya Sanogo.
And
when you're looking at Yaya Sanogo and going, I don't know what they see, but maybe he could be a player. Maybe.
We thought all those were absolutely quality. Oh, yeah, that Denis Suarez. Yeah, straight on YouTube.
Mate,
yeah, Davis international.
Top goal scorer in the championship, mate. Scored 17 consecutive games. Yeah. Worst thing for us was when Bentner came in, he was actually scoring goals as well. So it was like, hey,
Lord
Bentner.
What about how shit was Francis Jefferson? Oh my word.
Oh yeah. I mean, Fox in the box.
Fox in the box.
And I'm sure he'd score.
Yeah. Everton player, top player, him.
Yeah,
that's what we need.
I think we thought we were getting Rooney, and we got Francis Jefferson instead.
Yeah, something like that.
It didn't quite work out. On next one, Martin Zubimendi, a player who has played. You talk about link-ups and partnerships. I mean, you can see Mikel Moreno, Martin Odegaard, and Zubimendi all in the same team there for Real Sociedad. Zubimendi seems like it could be the player to add that level of balance to Arsenal's team, which seems to be missing. It seems to be like that left-hand side, which is missing a little bit. Like you've got Declan Rice naturally right-footed. Mikel Arteta tried in the first season having Declan Rice move to that left side to compensate for the loss of Granit Xhaka. And it did seem like it was working at some points, but it's just not natural for him. So it seems like Arteta is trying to add a little bit more balance and find a deep line playmaker.
Yeah.
Martin Zubimendi, a deal that has already advanced. Already agreed. And the player looks like he's very much on his way to Arsenal come summer.
Yeah, definitely a player that we've spoken about many times on this show. A player that literally for the last 2 seasons now he's trying to get. So, we think highly of him, but for Arteta to be like literally pestering this geezer for the last 2 seasons to come to the club, he must think very, very highly of him. We see him in the Euros. He come on for Rodri in the final and literally sort of just took over as if Rodri wasn't. We didn't even know Rodri was missing. Yeah. He come on and just he's the controller, mate, isn't he? I think did you use the word? I might be nicking your word. He's the controller, and I personally think he's going to be that final cog to stick into that midfield to make Arsenal's midfield complete. And you named the individual there. I think Partey probably would have moved on. We'll have to wait and see on that. I think for Partey to move on, I think we need to bring in another midfielder though.
I agree.
So I think like the people I know, Thomas Partey is, loved a lot by Arsenal fans. So I wouldn't sort of put it out of the question because he's Zubimendi's coming in, and that's the end for Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey, he's proved to be versatile for Arsenal. He can play in the right back position. He's very good on the ball. He can play in the midfield. We know Arteta likes that versatility. Yeah. So and this season, Thomas Partey's been excellent this season. Yeah, he's been one of Arsenal's best players. But Zubimendi, he'll just pop into that cog. He's like he's an all action, can do a bit of everything. And I think the player that he will benefit the most is Martin Odegaard. I think because Zubimendi will come in and he'll do a lot of the work that Odegaard has had to do. Yeah. Because sometimes Odegaard comes too deep. He won't have to come to do deep to do the work rate or whatever because Zubimendi that can do that. He won't have to come that deep to pick up the ball like we've seen him this season. Because Zubimendi's so good at getting the ball and playing it through the lines that he'll be able to find Odegaard further up the pitch, and that's where we want Odegaard further up the pitch like he was last season. This season he's been dropping too deep, coming too deep, and we're seeing the sort of the effects of it because of the lack of assists this season and the lack of goals this season with Odegaard, even when he has played and he hasn't been injured. So I think this Zubimendi is going to be an excellent signing, and like you said, talks are advanced, personal terms have agreed, and some of again, not just me, but some of the David Ornstein and Richard O'Mara have also come out and echoed what I'm saying to you tonight. So it looks like this one's nailed on, and pretty much going to be the first, probably as soon as the season ends. He'll probably be the first one that's walking through the door.
Yeah, and you mentioned about Thomas Partey. A player who's been excellent this season. He's been very versatile. And when he has dropped into that right-back role, it doesn't seem to have phased him this season like it did last season.
He's been better, isn't he? He's
been much better this season. Yes, we can point at the goal that was conceded against Aston Villa where he didn't look over his shoulder. But, I mean, I've not seen him really make any sort of errors in being when he's played out of position this season. And I think it's a bit too harsh to scrutinise him too much on just that one area that we've seen. But there was talk previously earlier in the season that he may be getting rewarded with an extension on his contract. That Arsenal were something that they've contemplated is a 2-year extension. Is that something that Arsenal still thinking about?
Yeah, 1 + 1 + 1. I mean, he hasn't signed it yet, but they're offering him one, which is generally what Arsenal do when a player gets to a certain age, but they still want to keep them.
Yeah,
we've sort of done that for many a year now. Arsenal, it's not sort of like a rubber stamped thing where this is what we do when you get to 30 or 31, but it's generally how Arsenal work, a 1 + 1. But look, it's got to be up to Thomas. Do you know what I mean? If Thomas wants to leave, if he wants to go, he may feel that he wanted to, similar to like a Salah or a Van Dijk, he might want to. We don't know, but one thing this season, he's been excellent. So I'd like to see him sign it, but it's something that's not done yet. It's similar to exactly the same deal as what Jorginho was given. I was like, I exclusively revealed that one that he was going to get a 1 + 1 year extension, and he did. And like I've already said, that's something that Arsenal do. And Partey's been offered the same. But as I say, it'll be up to Thomas at the end of the day. But especially on this season's form, mate, I hope he does. I really hope he signs. I've been critical with him in the past, a little bit sometimes. But this season, mate, he's definitely in my top 3 Arsenal players. He's been brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. Just quickly on Jorginho, is the fault that he's possibly going to move on in the summer? Because I think he wants a longer deal, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he got a 1 + 1, didn't he? So it'd be like whether they trigger. I think I'm right in saying that. So look, again, it's something a similar thing to Thomas Partey. It may be left up to him, or Arteta may turn man to him. There's been talk of him staying at the club and doing a coaching role, and because Arteta just likes having him around. He's got good knowledge. He's got good knowledge of people in all over Europe. He's by all accounts, his knowledge of players and who's right to play for Arsenal Football Club. He's had a lot of say in players that have come to the club. He's one of these players that Arteta goes to and asks his view, on what he thinks. So he's someone I know Arteta would love to keep around. And I know that he has been that is an option for him, but again, it'd be down to him at the end of the day. What he wants. Does he feel that he still wants to play football? Does he want to go somewhere else to continue until a certain age, or is he just happy to have his extension triggered and maybe stay on at the club as a coach? I'd love him to stay on, Jorginho. I love him. Do you know what I mean? For 12 million, mate, what a signing!
Yeah, he's excellent around the squad. Every time you watch that behind the scenes at Arsenal, all the players are talking about how Jorginho is with them, how he's with the youngsters, how he helps them bed in and learns teaches them new things. Declan Rice said it about Jorginho, about how he's learning off of every midfielder that we've got in the team, and Jorginho and his positional sense and the way he's learning a lot of these players. So look, even if it's a case of Jorginho does go to another club, does his time there for a year or two, and then comes back and wants to be a coach, I'm all down for that, because I like the thought of having ex-pros, as long as they can do it, as long as they're good at their job, to come into the club and be a part of it. I thought that Edu being a part of the director of football, I thought that was excellent. I thought that really set the tone in a time where we needed that, where we had idiots amongst the squad ruling the roost and sort of setting a bad example and forgetting what the Arsenal name was about. It's about class. And you've got people jumping up in certain countries taking their shirts off and swinging it around their heads on the table like they're go-go dancers. It's like, it's embarrassing, mate. It's embarrassing. Like, you're trying to be funny, and how have they let this sideshow Bob Clown think that he's the main guy here? And Eddie was like, not having it. So it's good to have that, because they remember what it was like when we were successful, and the small little things you need to put into place to make sure you're keeping a high standard of the club.
Yeah. I think like someone like Mohamed El Neni, I think his job was so sort of understated. Do you know what I mean? Sort of like on what he did, you know, and because he was similar to me, like a Jorginho type. Nowhere near as good as a footballer as what Jorginho is, but sort of done the same job behind the scenes. Do you know what I mean? Put people right, put them straight.
Yeah.
And literally told them what it was what it is to play for Arsenal.
Yeah.
And when you, sorry, mate. Yeah. No, go on, mate.
No, I was just saying, like, in times when we needed him, 10 minutes at the end of a game, 15 minutes at the end of the game to shore it up, because these aren't rubbish players. They're just not players that we want in the team to be playing week in, week out, because when those players come in for a game or two, it's fine. It's when they to play over a longer period of time when you start to see their weaknesses, when they just can't sustain that high level throughout. And that seems to be the problem. But bringing on someone like starting with someone like a Jorginho, or bringing on someone like an El Neni was never a problem. A problem. So, and especially you need them senior players in your team.
Yeah, and especially when we've got all these youngsters coming through. Do you know what I mean? You need someone of an older head to tell them, like, not that we haven't got, sort of players that are, like Odegaard and Rice and, and others who can tell them what it's like to play for Arsenal, what it means to play for Arsenal, Saka. But, players like Jorginho, who's played in World Cup finals, Champions League finals, won titles. Yeah, it's important for me. And I think Arteta knows that. Yeah. And I think Thomas Partey's not that type of character. But Jorginho, he's just someone who he's not been at Arsenal long, but he's someone who I just can't imagine not being there. He's like, when the day he leaves, I'll be like, I'll be gutted. Do you know what I mean? I'll be gutted the day he leaves.
Similar to Arteta. Arteta came in quite late at Arsenal in his career. And then by the time he left, he was a massive part of the team. And not just in a playing sense.
They loved him.
They loved him. Because Arteta was very much a manager before he was, while he was playing. Like, he used to work. Robin Van Persie was the captain at the time. And Mikel Arteta used to get the wives together, and they used to have family days out with the players in the club. So it was a family unit. It was a togetherness. Like he's been putting his ideas into play from when he was a player. So those sort of things, he felt a love for the club, and that's why he come back and he's been so brilliant.
Yeah, and we're used to seeing the tough Arteta. We know he's made us deal. He's someone who's, I don't know. We love him because the players love him. But at the same time, we look at him and we know that he ain't a manager to be messed with.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You've seen him in post-press conferences, and do you know what I mean? You feel proud to have that manager standing there, because these journalists are never going to get the better of Arteta. Do you know what I mean? He always says the right thing. He looks like, sometimes people get confused with that he's not a man with emotion. He's stern. But if you remember that day, I was there. I was at the game. He's absolutely in tears the day, his last game of the season.
Yeah, he was in bits.
It was absolutely in absolute bits.
Yeah.
So
this time was kind of cut short a little bit because he had some bad injuries, like a couple of knee injuries towards the end, which he weren't really playing much. And then it was like we kind of got him out onto the pitch to give him his last game at the Emirates.
Right,
so no, he does. He has a connection with the club, and I think it's like you want it to go full circle. You want a manager who's played for the club to win the league, and to win some trophies.
I don't think he gets enough. I mean, we've had this thing. I don't think he gets enough credit.
He doesn't. But he's not punished, Steve, until he puts that trophy on the table, and then we can drop kick it into people's side of the head, like because
it's a non.
We can only say so much without people saying, "Yeah, where's his trophy?" But what about trophy? But success is trophy. Like people, have you noticed that the 700 million's gone quiet? It's because people pulled up the charts for what everyone else has spent since Mikel Arteta's been here. Yeah, and the only two teams that have spent less are Manchester City and Liverpool. And Manchester City had already had their team set up for when Arteta was there by the time he left. And Liverpool had Salah, Alisson, Van Dijk already embedded into that team by the time Saka was there, by the time Arteta moved to Arsenal.
Yeah.
So he has spent 700 million. You've got Tottenham, which has spent more in the time he's been here. And you've got Chelsea, who spent 1.7 billion. Manchester United, 900 million. Like,
look where they are. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
But no, I mean, it does frustrate me. I know. Look, this is the football world. We're in the world of social media, and we're in the world of, the football goes across the globe, and you're getting all sorts of things. But look, at the end of the day, it's pretty simple for me. He come to the club. The club was a cesspit. It was a mess. He's never managed a club in his life. Mm-hmm. He's only been a manager for 5 years. He's still a young man. He come in with no managerial experience whatsoever. In 2 years, he turned 2.5 years. He turned an absolute wreck of a football club. And we're not just talking like a little club championship. We're talking, one of the biggest clubs in world football, Arsenal. He turned them before anybody would think into a title-winning side, and he's done it consistently for the last 3 seasons. And this season, with all the problems that we've had, injuries and stuff, he's still managed somehow to get this team to 6 points behind Liverpool and sitting in second place and third in the Champions League. But you still will get someone. He ain't won a trophy, is he? And I can't, and I don't. I'm just not. I just don't get it. He does the conversation after what I've said there. That we shouldn't even be having the conversation. It shouldn't even be on the lips of people. Maybe because I'm an Arsenal fan and I can explain it better. But even if I did, I don't think it'd help. Do you know what I mean? You
see this chart here with this is injuries resulting in a player missing more than one game. Premier League close to the most injuries resulting in players missing more than one game. Arsenal currently sit third. And that's upwards of 20 games.
Who's above us?
Tottenham. Fourth. Tottenham, Aston Villa, Brighton. I've had to deal
with
we're still.
Look
at the bottom. Look who's bottom. Who's had the least? Nottingham Forest and Liverpool. So
no, mate, no, I'm not having that. They've had Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones out for a long time.
Oh no, that is fair. That is fair. I'll give you that. You know what? You are right. Fonzie, I think, was out for a couple of weeks as well. What his name is?
Yeah, I think. And what's his?
Endo was injured for a little bit.
Was he Endo? Quality. Yeah, big loss.
No, but Steve, you cannot forget they had one of the best goalkeepers in the world out for a long while. Yeah, Callaghan.
Yes.
And he made that one mistake. In his whole time, he made that one mistake. And I mean, bin him off if I was you. Bin him off.
It's totally different.
It's funny how if you was to say anything bad about any of their players, they would fight you to the death. But the moment you say that, no injuries have really impacted you in a way.
No, that's the one.
They go mental. They go crazy. We lost Alisson. No, but you're telling me that Alisson wouldn't make a mistake? Well, Alisson came back within 2 weeks. He made an absolute stinker of a mistake.
You've got a goalkeeper, number 2, that could probably play in goal for any team in the Premier League. What are you talking about?
He's top goalkeeper.
If he was in goal for Man City, you'd go, oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
No. So how can you bring up? You can't bring up Keller. The only thing I'll never. I think Liverpool done fantastic this season. I think their manager's done brilliantly. I think their players have done well. I think I can't really knock any of their players.
Yeah.
And so any Liverpool fans watching tonight, I doubt there is. But if there are, fair play. But don't give me don't give me your injuries. Don't give me injuries. Don't give me it. don't get me, because then we can get into a conversation that, okay, we've had Saka, Odegaard, White, there wouldn't be no 6 point gap.
No one wants to hear about Odegaard.
No six
no one
point
wants to hear about Odegaard. No one wants to hear about Ben White, funnily enough.
Didn't they?
No one wants to hear about Ben White, but last season they didn't want to hear about Yuri and Timber because we didn't know how good he was going to be. But this season they don't want to hear about Ben White. And Tomiyasu, don't mention Tomiyasu because they laugh. Yeah. But they forget that a team needs a squad. So, but anyway, fools. Before we move on to the Champions League, Sevi Naipham, a player who's caused a bit of a stir with David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano. Are Manchester City in for Sevi Naipham?
Look, Fabrizio Romano's come out and said that they are. My information is they're not as in for him as what people think. Do you know what I mean? That's my information. Yeah. I'm hearing Arsenal are close, Arsenal are advanced, and the most likeliest club that he's going to go to is Arsenal. Mm-hmm. Persons who's told me that, I'm quite confident to come out on here and say it because, they're very, very reputable indeed. Do you know what I mean? And if he doesn't, look, he doesn't, and fair play, and he'll go to Man City and give Fabrizio a fair clap. But yeah, look, I'm not hearing anything really Man City based. Last night we explained it, didn't we? Do you know what I mean? He was at the Etihad the weekend to watch the Chelsea game. Mm-hmm. He was with Erling Haaland's agent Rafael Pimienta. Look, he was on his way, from what I've heard sort of today, that he was on his way to the training camp in Portugal, and it was like a stopover to go and see a football match. And while he was there, I think he did have a chat. But from my information is that Arsenal had already chatted to him before then, mm-hmm. and and they're pretty confident that Arsenal are the team that will sign him off the basis of that chat.
Yeah.
Cool. So, but he's probably gone to the City game and they've grabbed hold of him.
Don't forget that
He's with the agent. It's with an agent. Yeah. They're going to meet people who are high up at City. They're going to see this guy who's the next moat in Odegaard. They're going to chat with him, aren't they? They're going to say, "Look, why didn't you come in?"
It's not odd at all. It makes sense. He's a young kid, remember. Let's not forget. So you don't want that. It's not even about the pressures of saying, "Oh, come and pick my car." It's a day out. He's over in England. When was the last time he was over in England? So he's over in England. Why not go and see two players that are in the Norwegian first team, Norwegian men's team, which is Erling Haaland and Martin Odegaard? Like, it makes sense. If they was over here to have a chat with Arsenal, it would make sense to go and see Erling Haaland.
Yeah, I think they've stopped. I think the chat with Arsenal has happened. People are a little bit like, not deluded is the wrong word, but don't get it twisted. Arsenal have spoken to this guy much long before he's just come over. That ain't the first time they've actually, spoken to him. From my information, Odegaard recommended him to Arteta, and they was first on the ball, and they spoke to his father. Look, transfers are funny. Do you know what I mean? We don't know which way he's going to go, but everything's pointing to Arsenal. I'm hearing that he'll be around about 12 million for the player. And he's someone who's, he's on that Ethan Nwaneri, Miles Lewis-Skelly line, maybe even a little bit higher, but he's in that level. Do you know what I mean? These are the type of kids now that Arsenal are looking at. And the only thing that it's probably going to go against Arsenal now, that maybe the kids in the academy might going to find it a bit hard now. It seems that they're looking about out of Europe to find these super wonder kids.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that the players that, it's not often you get many batches of players come through year after year after year. It don't really work like that, does it? So to get Nwaneri and Lewis-Skelly, who are currently playing in the first team.
Yeah, he's
unreal. And so I think even if we do bring in this Naipham, I think other players will still look at the fact that Skelly and Wanyeri have come through and say, do you know what? We're still at the right place. They're still given opportunities. Like,
unless you're Aiden Heaven and Obi Chida Martin.
Yeah, so we will talk about those.
Good riddance.
Aiden Heaven it looks like he's on his way to Manchester United to follow the footsteps of Obi Chida Martins. I hope they didn't sell to you that he'll be playing first team football now or straight away, because we've seen Obi Chida Martins dropped into the under 18s at some point. But yeah, Steve, Aiden Heaven.
Yeah, Aiden Heaven. Look, he's someone who's a decent player. He's a centre back. Can play at left back, but he's been playing centre back for the under 21s for Arsenal. And it's one that's come out of the blue, really. And it's just down to money. Arsenal offered him something. And again, I did an exclusive on the Obi Chida Martins one. Do you know what I mean? And it's a similar situation. Arsenal offered him a contract that they felt what they was worth. And Manchester United, and they didn't. And Manchester United had offered them more. So they went to Manchester United because of I don't know. I mean, are they going to get more chance at Man United to play at Arsenal? I don't know. I don't know. I don't look. I mean, they're no Lewis-Skelly, these ones, and I mean they might turn out to be. They might turn out to be in the future. I don't know, but they're certainly not.
Yeah,
they're not going to be getting in the Arsenal side anytime soon. That's for sure.
No.
So they're probably the best thing to do is move on.
Yeah, good luck to him. At the end of the day, I bear no grudge over a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old moving to a different team. It's just a little bit unfortunate that it's not come through the ranks at Arsenal. It's a bit of an odd one because I did see, because he was the only player that didn't come on against, who was it? Who was the one? What was the game where we had the really young goalkeeper playing goal? Not Tommy Stepford.
Jack Porter.
Jack Porter. So he was one of the only ones that didn't come on in that game. And there was a lot of sort of not uproar, but there was a lot of discontent from possibly younger fans on those accounts that were saying it's not fair that he didn't come on. He should have come on. He's a quality player. He needed to play. He should have got his opportunity. He was the only one. I think Arteta played like 5 young players, youth players. One of them was like 15. Like he started 4 on the pitch. Like come on, man. Like give it a rest. And it's maybe it was a little bit of that. Maybe he felt a bit put out by the fact that he didn't get an opportunity when everyone else did.
Possibly. But you're right. Good luck to him. He's a young kid. I hope he's gone to Manchester United because he feels that, do you know what I mean? That for a footballing reason, maybe he feels that at this stage of where Man United at the moment, maybe he might feel that he may look at, there's no banter at all to Man United. Do you know what I mean? That's just a fact at this moment. Do you know, in time, do you know, he probably looks at it and thinks, I'm a centre back. Where am I going to fit in? Do you know what I mean? I'm getting to that.
And they look, they're always linked to centre backs as well. Ben White's there, Timber,
Will Walters was the same, wasn't he? Will Walters was another one who moved on because and as you say, it's difficult, mate. There's not many Miles Lewis-Skellys and Ethan Denweary's about, is there? In Premier League, who is there?
No,
do you know at that age?
Very
who do you know? I mean, even at Man City, I mean, you look at Rico Lewis and Savinho. I mean, I wouldn't swap them for Miles Lewis-Skelly and Ethan Denweary.
Yeah, Rico Lewis is a good player. Savinho, they bought him. I know they bought him and then sent him to, was it Strasbourg or whatever it was, their other club.
Yeah, I don't know how old he is. I'm not too sure how old he is.
Yeah, but I can't count that. I definitely count Rico Lewis. Obviously, they've had Foden, who's when you talk about come through the youth ranks and brought to the first team. That's a great example of what you want.
But when you look at Arsenal's bench, when you look at Arsenal's bench, you must think, where am I going to get on that bench? Do you know what I mean? Even if I get on the bench, I'm not getting in that bench, am I?
Yeah, but think we could have also had Amari Hudson on top of that as well. Like I feel like
he's doing. He looks decent, doesn't he?
Yeah, it would have been rotation, getting games. I feel like I feel like over the last couple of years, he would have got game time. I think. And look, he's doing well at Ipswich now, and he's playing week in, week out. But that one hurt me when I see him sign for Chelsea.
Yeah. I like to see Arsenal, former Arsenal players do well. I do. I know.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody. I mean, there's like Van Persie. I hated when he couldn't stand him. But I mean, a lot of people were against Fabregas when he left. I couldn't.
It's different with Fabregas. He's going back to
I loved Fabregas. Even when he left, I was like, fair. He went to Barcelona. He went home to his boyhood club. He went home to where I couldn't be. The Chelsea thing was a bit weird, but apparently, Wenger didn't want Fabregas, and so in the end, Chelsea. And to be fair,
that could have actually worked.
Oh, mate, he was unreal at Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? He was fantastic at Chelsea, but I can't be thingy against Arsenal players when they move on. Emil Smith-Rowe, good luck to him. I wish we would have kept Nelson instead of Sterling.
Oh yeah,
we would have probably been better off keeping him.
Tell me about it.
And instead of him, but and Iwobi would give him a mention because he's been outstanding this season.
He's doing well. He's doing well. He's done well at Everton. He's doing well at Fulham. Fair play to Iwobi.
It's the best I've seen him. It's the best Iwobi I've seen in a minute.
Yeah.
I like Iwobi.
Still not quite got the end product that we're looking for at the level at Arsenal. But he's got. Yeah. You can see why Arsene Wenger liked him. You can see why Arsene Wenger gave him a chance.
Yeah, he's a very likeable guy, isn't he?
Busy,
dressing room.
Yeah.
Strong, he's always having a joke about it, and he's always having a laugh.
Yeah, his dad's a solicitor. One of the
oh, is he?
One of the top in the country, I think. My dad was saying. It's obviously my dad. So
yeah, but just back quickly to Aidan Evan. It's just I can't, as I say, being a left-sided centre back. It's just, where's he going to get? He's just, you got Calafiori there who can play at left back. You got Ben White. You got Kior. And then you got others as well. Probably I can't even think of them. We've got so many players at defence now. But Miles Lewis-Skelly and I mean, even Declan Rice can play the centre back, can't he? It's fine. So. Yeah, it's difficult for him, but good luck to him. Even if it is Manchester United, I wish him well.
Yeah, not too well at Man United. Now on to the Champions League standing. Just a quick one. Arsenal play Girona tomorrow in a Champions League decider, which will decide whether they end up in this top part of the table. Top 8 mean they automatically go through to the last 16s, whereas anywhere in between here you have to play a playoff game. Anyone is relegated. If you look at the relegated teams with a chance to go up, still obviously these teams still with these teams will all be out. Leipzig will be out. Bologna will be out. So it's down. So it's down from Shakhtar Donetsk. Shakhtar Donetsk have to score 8 goals, and then hope that Stuttgart lose. It's not really going to happen. So I'd say Dynamo Zagreb. And above could potentially be in and around here. But if you look at the teams in this patch here,
must win for Manchester City. That's mad.
Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. Oh God, Juventus, like PSG, Benfica, Sport. These are tough teams. Yeah. I was hoping it would be a little bit more like next round, Girona. Well, Red Star did well to get through. Oh, come on, Red Star.
We know we're going to end up with someone.
It's going to be the same we had. Remember when we had? We were so unlucky in the Champions League because we kept on getting Barcelona in the second round or the third round. It was like,
can we play Man? We can't play Man City, can we?
I hope not.
Because they're British. We can't play British club.
Yeah, I don't think so. I was just. So look in the knockout phase. How does it work? I
think we're through anyway, aren't we? We're through anyway.
Yeah, but it will just depend on where.
Look at our goal difference, mate, to the others. We're through. We're through already. Look at the goal. Look at our goal difference.
We
have to get like 9 goals, even if we lost.
Yeah.
We'd have to get about 9 goals. The other teams.
But it will depend on because if we finish 8th. Would that mean we would be playing
Stuttgart?
Like one of these teams? I don't even know how it works. It would all depend. I'm guessing it will depend on once
Stuttgart this playoff is over.
We hope so. We will see. Go game against Jona tomorrow. How do you think Arteta should play? Do you think it's the time to rest and rotate?
Yeah, I mean, it's like this. It's a difficult one, isn't it, mate? You know, I think look, we've got Man City on Sunday, so tomorrow's Wednesday. Yeah, I think, you know, I think we should, sort of rest a few big players, and then if need be, bring them on, because it's not a game we have to win. Do you know what I mean? It's a game that we can have, but I think like Jona are, you know, they're not having a great season, so it's a team really we should be getting something out of. We should be winning. But yeah, it's interesting. We haven't got much. There's certain positions where we haven't really got a lot of choice. But rest where we can. I think if we can give Havertz a rest, please rest him.
Yeah.
You know, give him. You know, if he's playing again, I can't just it'd be unbelievable.
Well, we need him for Man City, so ideally you would rest him and then bring him on for the last 15, so it just keeps him fresh or something like that.
Yeah, but who'd you play down the middle? Then what, Trossard or something?
Trossard. Look, we brought on that youngster the other day, so start Trossard and down that middle, bring on a youngster later on. Look, looking at that table, we can afford to rest players. We ain't going to drop out that top.
Do you know what? It's terrible. I'm thinking like straight away you think, oh, this is a game for Sterling. But even you think, God, you're so bad.
I feel for him, you know, because I had not high hopes, but I had hopes that he could bring something a little bit extra, his experience, goals, pace.
He ain't shown nothing, is he? He ain't shown anything.
And the conclusion I came to, he is like, because his dribbling is very. He's like Saka with no power, no strength. So when people tackle him, it's like right on top of their leg. I'm like, move him, like barge him or something. Come on, Sterling, because now you're having to run all the way around the pitch to take it around a player. Like,
that bit where he come on and he fell over. Do you remember he tried to?
I felt for him there because it felt you know when you sit on the bench, Steve, and you're like, and you're watching players, you're watching their players.
I didn't know.
Come on, I'm coming straight for you. It's like he went to drop a shoulder and then just collapsed to the floor and left.
I didn't know where he was going. I didn't even know where he was going. He looked like he was going. I was like, where are you going? He looked like he was going like towards the centre circle. He was trying to go through about 4 players, and then I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, first of all, I'm annoyed because I thought, you're surrounded by 4 players now. You've asked it up, right? But then to make it even worse, this is where the sorry for him bit comes in, and he falls over tit.
Yeah, he's trying too hard. He's trying to prove a point. That's not how you do it. You can't just prove a point like that. You just got to play, relax. You can't play tense. Like you've got to relax because some of the best footballers in the world would look distinctly average if they played tense. The best ones play relaxed. They like the pressure. They like the big moments. When you're now second guessing yourself because you was at one of the best clubs in the world, you moved to Chelsea thinking, do you know what? I'm still at a decent club here, and that's just not worked out. And now you're at Arsenal. It's like, it's not looking good. Where'd you go from here? For Sterling, where'd you go? It's you're looking at it. There's not too many options. Newcastle. Where'd you go?
I think would they want him on this form either? I mean, I don't know.
It could be one of those players that you're like, what? Because he ends up in MLS at the age of 29. It's a shame. It's a shame. He's top talent. That is all we have time for. Thank you for everyone who's joined us tonight. Thank you for everyone who's pressed that like and that retweet. Press it again if you haven't. Look, it's free. It's free. Send it to everyone else to let them know that every Monday is the transfer exchange show where you can get all the transfer news across the board from any team in the world. And on Tuesdays, it's the Arsenal show where you can ask your questions about any transfer dealings that we have, or you can discuss any news with us as well. Thank you for joining us tonight, Steve.
Cheers, mate. Enjoyed it. Pleasure, mate. Thank you.
Good. And if you are on TikTok, make sure you go and follow the Transfer Exchange Show on TikTok or Kieran AFC. Got it right tonight. Peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands. Oh. So bad.